Hello, friends. In the greatest second army in the world, a panicked cry is unfolding. All because Elon Musk blocked 550,000 Starlink terminals that were being used by Russia against Ukraine. In fact, on many sections of the front, assault operations have stopped.
Ну, Трамп теперь надо снять трубку и позвонить Маску. У них же в какое-то времени отношения стали плохие. Ну и тихо, спокойно объяснить, что ты в чувство приди.
Just look at that specific face, the one that was getting ready to fight NATO and then suddenly realized that without NATO's terminals, it can't fight at all.
Ну вот что будет, если мы сейчас нанесем удары по заводам, производящим Starlink?
Well, obviously that's what's going to happen. You'll just miss.
А если мы нанесем удар на космической орбите, он же не избирательный, поэтому, конечно, наши спутники тоже погорят, да и хрен с ними.
How dare you ban us from using the technologies we stole from you to fight you, the highest level of injustice. A story of pure love in the country of late Putinism. A man beat his partner and knocked out her eye. Then, to avoid prison, he signed a military contract and went to the war in Ukraine.
В случае, если он получает ранение, в случае, если он получает награду этого Героя России, и в случае, если СВО заканчивается, он освобождается от ответственности и суда не будет. Все. Он герой России.
In any normal civilized country, people like this sit behind bars, while in Russia, they're labeled as heroes. And the main character, the one wanted by the International Criminal Court, just happens to be the president. Since we've started talking about him, let's keep going. There are three things you can watch endlessly: fire burning, water flowing, and Kremlin propagandist Vladimir Solovyov back in February 2022 confidently explaining how many Ukrainian regions Putin's army was just about to capture.
То есть вот это все, там, черни, вот это все должно быть красненького цвета. И вот до Приднестровья. То есть вот это все должно быть красненькое. И, конечно, вот когда мы вот это все зачистим, дальше, почему мы сделали? Да, мы здесь сковали группировку и очень сильно ее разложили.
Just look at this. He's already colored Kyiv red, and ahead of us, there's still the so-called gesture of goodwill from Putin.
Ясно, что скорость их переброски существенно ниже, чем нашей.
At the speed with which the Russian army abandoned its burning columns and fled from the Kiev direction, no one had ever run before, and the withdrawal from Kherson was even faster.
Поэтому вот главная разборка, которая сейчас вот будет решаться здесь, вот когда вот это сомкнется, и здесь все будет зачищено, то общие потери украинской армии, ну реально, уже подойдут там к порядка 80-90 тысяч человек. Это будет страшный удар, особенно когда эти данные появятся.
Well then, Solovyov, almost 4 years have passed and the numbers are finally out. Russia's losses have crossed the 1 million mark, and the promised encirclement instead of tightening ended up unraveling in the opposite direction.
После этого, судя по всему, мы, конечно, просто пойдем уже совсем другой скоростью, с разных направлений. Так что Киев, никто не отказался от идеи брать Киев.
Everything is exactly as you say. No one has abandoned the idea of taking Kyiv. Just repeat this mantra 3 times every morning.
Вопрос, на какой стадии и как?
Let's call this stage. We deliberately pulled back far from Kyiv to get a proper run-up and then quickly storm the capital.
Может быть, Киев надо брать, когда вот уже вот это все, когда вот это все. Борисполь, Черкассы, вот это все. Ну и вот эта часть тоже будет другого цвета.
Probably we won't even bother to clarify what color, for example, Kherson is now, the very same one that was proudly marked in red on Solovyov's map.
Мы уничтожим им всю инфраструктуру. Всю военную инфраструктуру. У них не будет никакой армии. В Евросоюз не хотите? И попытайтесь восстановить. В Евросоюз, где не будет нашего газа, наших продуктов питания.
Putin's propagandist Solovyov, it's been almost exactly 4 years since the start of this so-called Great Special Operation. So, what do you say now? Did you wipe out the entire Ukrainian army, huh? Friends, now is the perfect moment to hit the like button. And don't forget to share this video with your friends. Thank you. Location: occupied Crimea, taken over by Putin. Just an ordinary bus stop.
Вот такая остановка на Фонтанов.
Не зайти, не подойти.
Well, my dear, the kind of president you have is exactly the kind of bus stops you end up with. Being born in Russia is one kind of pleasure. Surviving in it is a completely different one. The Sochi city administration decided to spice things up and arranged a personal version of Takeshi's castle for local school children.
Тут одна через одну прогинаются, то есть не упадешь, так ногу поломать можно. И посмотрите, вот под каким наклоном ступенечки, по которым мы должны спуститься. Вот. Сейчас солнышко, может, чуть подсох. А так вот он, чтобы вы понимали, он скользит. А представляете, когда ливень, надо держать ребенка, портфель, зонтик. Вот.
The most astonishing thing is that the people who believe in the greatness of Putin's Russia and the people walking across a bridge boarded up with wooden planks are one and the same.
Вот его как-то штопают жители с той стороны, этой с нашей стороны. Как-то, видите, вот он даже прохудился тут. Вот просто набили вот эти вот поддоны. А где-то вот раз досочка провалилась, нога застряла, и все, перелом-то обеспечен моментально.
The Sochi administration, I don't quite get it. How could you let this happen? What are these half measures? Why are people walking across the bridge without sticks to knock the person coming the other way off? One of the most resource-rich countries on the planet. And yet, batteries in supermarkets are kept under anti-theft locks.
Ашан, Москва. Батарейки в отдельных коробках по 29 рублей в отдельной коробке, чтобы не украли.
As the classics used to say, the closer an empire is to collapse, the smaller the batteries it hides behind anti-theft cases.
Вот по 24 рубля без коробки. 300 рублей в коробке. И 24 без коробки. 29 с коробкой.
You're looking in the wrong direction, my friend. Watch TV instead, and don't forget that no matter how bad things are here, they're still worse in America. A story straight from the bigger they are, the harder they fall category. The former head of British intelligence, Richard Moore, says, "We ourselves were surprised by just how weak the Russian army turned out to be militarily."
Contrast that with Ukraine, where in many cases we thought that the Ukrainians would struggle to hold back the Russians. We had underestimated just how bad the Russian army would prove to be in the battlefield. And of course, in Zelensky, you had a different type of leader. You had somebody who was incredibly brave and stayed and led his people to resist the Russian invaders.
Putin will go down in history as the greatest geopolitical strategist, specifically a former intelligence service colonel who, 4 years in, still can't defeat a former comedian. Friends, thank you for being here and for continuing to support me. Ukraine is currently facing severe cold, and due to constant shelling from my country, people there urgently need help. If you're willing to support fundraising for heaters and generators, I'll leave a trusted link in the description. If you like what I do and want to support the channel, you're welcome to join my Patreon. For just $3 a month, you'll get 24-hour early access to new videos, exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, direct interaction with me, and more. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who supports me through Buy Me a Coffee. It's thanks to my supporters that I can keep doing this work and keep moving toward my goal, saving up for my education in Europe. Right now, I have 80 incredible patrons. Please, let's hit 90. Not saying goodbye. See you very soon.